Hello and welcome to my review of Batgirl 45, an issue written by Cecil Castellucci with art by Carmine Di Giandomenico. And I have not enjoyed Cecil Castellucci's run on Batgirl so far. I gave her the benefit of the doubt when she came on the book and ended up having to deal with the whole year of the villain Oracle robot stuff. But since then, she has had an Unearthed story, which was picking up from the Unearthed stuff from the Titans book. That was garbage. Then you get to this new story after the Unearthed, and it involves a living gold metal that turns into electricity when homeless people that are statues get thrown in. Garbage. And you start off with this same thing from the cliffhanger of last issue where this woman in an alley is turning into pure gold. And it's causing an electricity burst. You end up having Batgirl trying to figure out what's going on. She thinks that Jason might be involved, Jason Bard, and maybe something they brought back from Unearthed would be the case. Now, they keep saying that. This is something that keeps being brought up until Barbara just says, no, it can't be that because nothing can come back from Unearthed. So why even deal with it at the beginning? And the problem with this issue, and I think a lot of what Cecil Castellucci does, there's no setup for anything. And it's completely and utterly ridiculous, everything that happens in this issue, because as this goes on, this woman starts talking Russian. It is a clue that Barbara uses a little bit as this woman just completely goes nuts with this living metal, electricity everywhere, and you end up having some thugs come and grab the woman. As Barbara says, my gadgets are shorted, yet fully charged. Okay. Whatever. So they end up having these thugs grab this homeless woman who's turning into a gold statue. They end up shooting Barbara there with a gun that wraps ropes around her. She breaks out of it pretty easily and then gives chase to save this woman. And she opens up the van from the top in a cool little deal, grabs a guy. What's going on? What are you all about? I don't know. It's all about power. Okay, whatever. And they end up saying that this woman that Barbara's trying to save, she's dimming. Throw the old bag out. And they open up the van and throw her out the van. Barbara goes to try to save her, asks her about things. And this woman just says, Ivan, I'm a scientist from, and you're going to get the idea by the end. She is a scientist from this company Dasha Burlova has to turn this living gold, wire gold, it's called, into an electricity source. But by the time we get there, the idea that this is probably a scientist that was working for Dasha, right? So to get this thing going, they must have fired her to the point where she's homeless, then living in an alley near Jason Bard's apartment. Then they go back to her and turn her into this living gold to grab her again, to bring her back to the company so that they can throw her in a vat and fuel the source. It makes no damn sense. It makes no sense at all, and it is ridiculous. Barbara gets a sample, and then in classic Batgirl phrasing says, time to split. Take care, Ivan, whatever your name is, and then leaves and just leaves and goes to do experiments on this metal. And I like to see when Barbara is using her smarts, her intelligence, but this is just nonsense. She is doing just random experiments that we're supposed to think mean something, but don't, because we have no idea what's going on. So you get, hey, this metal's strong, but not quite rust. Looks like, look at that ratio on that electricity. I can't remember seeing metals like this. And you get nothing. You get nothing. And even at the point, she thinks it's nanotech, and then it's not. And so she's doing experiments. In the meantime, Jason Bard goes back to the alley to check up on Ethel. So we find out that the scientist's name was Ethel Ivan. The Russian scientist, homeless woman. But now there's another guy there who seems to be just a guy who was another homeless person that ends up wanting to kind of take care of all of Ethel's stuff, going to steal stuff. He starts speaking Russian. Then all of a sudden he starts turning into metal, all this stuff. And you see Jason get hit in the back of the head, presumably the thug's going to get this guy because we're going to see him in statue form a little later. He calls Batgirl. Batgirl comes to figure out what's going on. You find out that Ethel Ivan didn't make it. And there again, Barbara, guess Ethel Ivan didn't make it. and no care in the world. So they're trying to figure out what this whole thing is. Jason ends up thinking, okay, I brought this back from on Earth. That's where Barbara's like, no. Nothing can come back from there. So that just shuts that door. But you end up having Jason, I don't know, almost like a karma thing. I'm a bad guy and bad things are happening around me. And then Barbara says, we all have done bad things. We all have secrets. And then in her narration says, like when I threw you off a building and busted your now working leg. That never happened. And it's something that keeps being brought up in this series. Red Hood did that, not Barbara. Jason thinks Barbara did it. Barbara did not do it. She knows she did not do it. And the idea that they keep coming and saying, yeah, when I did this or I did that, and make it's nonsense. It did not happen that way. So why are they keep going with this? I think that nobody's done it. They're just going from what the last person said. Nobody cares about what really happened. But you then go with this idea where, hey, you should call Barbara, she's pretty cool and all that. And you have Jason. He is trying to be a good guy. But the big mystery of how did he come back from Unearth without a limp? Well, he did die in Unearth and was given an elixir to come back to life. Maybe that fixed his leg. We'll see, but they're not dealing with it anyway. But you do go back to Alejo's office where Barbara seems to work like once every 7 months. And she's there and they need a new energy source. The grid's been down. Oh, we have blackouts. I'm not going to let my people go around without any energy. Hey there, Barbara. You used to run a entire multi-billion-dollar clean energy company. You got any ideas? Number one, she should say, well, even though my company was taken over, my best friend Frankie still is pretty much in charge there. Maybe we should use that. Maybe I could throw that a solid. That nope, they're going to end up with, how about this? And it's a Dasha Borlova who is working on experimental tech with metal. And Barbara says, yeah, I kind of dealt with her and, the Gordon Clean Energy R&D. She couldn't light a light bulb. All right, Barbara, you are a great person. And just the idea of that. Hey, I want to apply for the R&D. Okay, try to light this light bulb. I can't. I want to work in R&D. We're going to work on experiment. Get out of town. It just is ridiculous. Every bit of setup. And the thing is, this Dasha Borlova is set here so that you see the picture. Because when Barbara goes back to her lab here, she ends up doing some experiments and saying, hey, computer, can you cross-check wire gold? See who's doing experiments with it. All of a sudden, this is just thrown out there. And in fact, Dasha Borlova is the one who's been doing the experiments. Oh my, they are heading to actually see her do a little presentation, a little TED talk, a Dasha talk on this metal. And now it seems to be the metal that's involved in all of this nonsense. I can't believe it. So they go up. There's Dasha. She's there with a big presentation. And she even says, hey, everybody, I'm working on this stuff. I'm following in my mother's footsteps. She thought that alternative energies would be great. Electricity could come from an array of metals, all this stuff. It just leads to us finding out pretty much, and not really even well done, that her mother was consumed by this metal, and all she is trying to do is figure out a way to bring her back to life. Well, you end up having the tour then, as they tour Dasha Borlova's setup. And again, now I'm sitting there thinking, okay, they want to have an alternative energy source. You want to end up having something that could fuel Gotham's energy deal. And what you're doing is having a living gold that seems to be completely and utterly rare. Nobody's even heard of it, barely. Barbara just figures it out. And the way that they end up going to make it spark so that it will end up creating energy is by going and kind of making it consume homeless people into statues, which then they throw into the bed. This sounds very expensive. I think that what you're going to end up having is people in Gotham having the electric bills that are like $10,000 a month. I mean, it's being fueled by a living gold and a lot of process here. But while they're doing the tour, it gets even crazier because there's just these statues around, and Jason Bard ends up, oh my God, that's that guy. That's that homeless guy I told you about earlier. Why is he here? And you just get these thugs. Hey, everybody, turn around. You're not supposed. They're in a tour. This is like a tour of a company, and you just see them carrying dead bodies around, and hey, what's going on? Nothing for you to see here. So that's the setup of, oh no, they're using these bodies to go and fuel. Also, I have to mention that when they have gone out, we've seen a couple times now where they try to make this living gold statue thing out of these, and it's not working. So there is also just more money thrown on top. Well, Barbara senses something's not right. I mean, she is a hero. I don't understand. Something's not quite right. So she goes that night to look into what's going on here. And she's, oh man, Dasha's treating the statues like people. That's the homeless guy. It looks like she's dancing with it. And then I don't know, that it seemed to react to the metal that I had and all that. Oh no, the electricity is made of people. And so that's what it is. All these statues, she realizes these are real people and they're throwing them in the vat. And this is crazy. Oh no, it's killing them. And so this whole thing goes. And then out of nowhere, you get Batwoman show up and grab, hey, you're messing up my stakeout. Now, the stakeout then seems to be not necessarily, it seems to be with Dasha Burlova, but ends up being because we get the next guest star, which is KG Beast. And I don't know what's going on here. And here's where you get the little inkling that, okay, Dasha's doing all of these experiments, doing these things so that she might be able to bring back her mom. But in a way, she says, I thought the metal that my family had turned into was lifeless and only good for simple movements. The hell does that mean? I never dreamed they could still be alive. So she's trying to bring them back. All right, but set it up better. The setup in this is complete and utter nonsense. Well, you do end up seeing there, that's KG Beast, because then you end up having Batgirl and Batwoman attack, and KG Beast now with what appears to be a possibly living metal arm there is now attacking. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you have where Batwoman says, KG Beast, it's over. I've come a long way to take you in. So it seems like she's just there for KG Beast, nothing with Dasha Burlova. And she must have been staking out, seeing, living people getting thrown in, though she might not have known that. But still, she's just centered. I'm bringing you in, KG Beast. And then you have KG Beast say to Batgirl, hey, little girl, I thought I dumped you in the alley. So you're, okay, KG Beast was there before, but that's not well set up either. But the big thing is Dasha realizes, wait a second, grab that KG Beast, grab Batgirl, because she's made of tougher things. She'll be able to end up living. And now I can do my experiment, which again, you're throwing in where the experiment must be trying to bring back her mom. Up there, but nothing's set up. It's complete garbage. This whole story is just nonsense. I've wasted way too much time. And on the cover, it says, who owns? Who cares is what I say. And overall, 3 out of 10. Every time I read this, I hate it more. It's nonsense. Nothing is set up. It's a complete and utter ridiculous bit of storytelling, if you can say that. Nothing is going well here. Cecil Castellucci, everything I've read has been complete and utter garbage. So I'm done. I'm so done with this. And maybe when we get done this whole break here, where I saw even Cecil Castellucci, hashtag pencils down. How about hashtag keep them down? Because she cannot tell a story. She is horrible. 3 out of 10. I'm a fan of Carmine Di Giandomenico's art, but even here, it seems all just willy-nilly and out of nowhere. Things are just there. I think that she was struggling with the script as well, but that's the end of my review. If you like the review, like it below. Also comment on it. If you like the issue, let me know why you did. And we can have a discussion, not an argument, a discussion. That will probably resemble an argument, but that's okay. But also go and look at the description of this video and all the others on here to get links to our DC and Marvel Comics podcast and website and all that. And yeah, that will be it. And I hope you like this, and I'll talk to you later.